Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the 4 Pillars of Health with Kevin Davis. Today we're going to talk about maximizing fat loss with coaching and semaglutide, or better known as Wegovy or Ozempic. Now, you may not know exactly what Ozempic does. You may not know exactly how the semaglutide works. But what we're going to talk about today is, not necessarily the details on the physiology. We've covered that in previous podcasts, and we're going to probably revisit that in just a little while. But today we're going to talk about how can you maximize your fat loss. And we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of health that I think you need to include with using semaglutide. And then also, what do you need to consider if you do lose weight and you start to regain it? What's some of the things that you can do to help get you back to where you want to go? Now, if you don't know me, my name is Kevin Davis, and I'm an online health coach and also a physician assistant. And I help guys lose weight, gain muscle, and live the life that they want to live. The life that not in the office, but outside the office, the things that they want to do to accomplish in life. And today, let's talk about maximizing fat loss. Now, with that topic, if you notice, I didn't say weight loss because there's a difference. Most people want to say, I lost so much weight. What we really want to concentrate on is losing fat. And we know that because physiology, if you decrease your fat and you increase your muscle, you're going to be more metabolically healthy. People can lose weight. You can go on a calorie restriction diet. You can also lose weight just with the semaglutide. But the problem is, if you're not doing these other things, even with or without the injection, then you're going to lose muscle. And in the end, you're going to have more problems than what you had to begin with. Because most times, this is how it happens. Let's say you lose, let's say 20 pounds. If 15 pounds of that is, say, fat and 5 pounds is muscle, if you lose that weight and, you maintain it for a little while, but you gain that weight back, most of the time what's going to happen is you're going to gain 20 pounds of fat back, not the muscle, if you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do. So you're usually worse off metabolically at that time. And then the next time you try to diet, it makes it harder. That's why we have so many people doing yo-yo dieting. And if you hear from them and maybe yourself, you lose weight the first time, second time it gets a little harder, third time it gets a little harder because you do it the wrong way. You need to be able to do something and maintain that weight loss. So the things that I really try to pride myself on is not only getting clients to lose the weight, but to maintain that weight loss. That's the key. And, we're all human. We're all going to gain a little bit of weight every now and then. But what can you do to reverse that to get back to where you want to go? So when you're talking about weight loss, it's a multi-factor condition. It's not just one thing. It's not just calories. I believe you have to reduce your calories. You have to be in calorie deficit, but it's much more than just calories. I think it's the way that your food affects your hormones. And if you think about your metabolic system, when we talk about whether you're metabolically healthy or not, it's how your body uses that food for energy. And if you're feeding it the wrong things, one, you're going to not feel well. You're going to feel tired. I just had a discussion with a client or a patient in the clinic this week. He was taking in like 400 grams of sugar per day. That was like a minimum every day he was taking in. And if you remember from previous talks that we've had, guys are supposed to have like 35 grams. He came in feeling tired. And I explained to him there's some things going on, him taking that much sugar on, especially fructose, that was turning off his mitochondria, which is an energy producer in your body. And that's why he was feeling tired. So there's no pill, there's nothing like that that's going to get that to switch. What I think people need is the right information and then using tools like semaglutide to help them get the results that they want to go. So we want to concentrate on not losing weight. We want to concentrate on losing fat, and we want to be able to maintain or even increase our muscle mass. And that's possible to do. It takes a little work, takes a little time, takes a little consistency, but that's something that you can do on a regular basis to get and maintain the weight loss that you want to have. Now, weight loss We all have set points. And what I mean by set point is we all have a weight that your body kind of gets used to. And that changes throughout your life. If you gain weight over a period of time, you said you have a new set point. If you lose weight, you have a new set point. So the set point really influences what your body tends to gravitate to. And one of the reasons behind that is something called leptin. Leptin is your satiety hormone. So let's say you lose weight. Well, leptin is produced in the fat cells. If you have less fat cells or less size of fat cells, you may be producing less leptin. Less leptin, less satiety, therefore you feel more hungry. So we got to be able to maintain, the weight that we want to get, eat the sufficient amount of calories, but also maintain the results that we want to have. Statistics show that people who lose weight, only 20% after 1 year have kept that weight off. After 2 to 3 years, it's even worse. It's like 5% have kept it off. So it's possible. You can see that the numbers do show that it can be done. And it's usually these people that are doing the right things the right way is able to not only lose the weight, but maintain the weight loss. What we want to do is we want to shoot for like about a 1% to 2% body weight loss per week. And that's something that you can maintain. So when we're having this weight loss and we're talking about semaglutide and we're talking about coaching, there's a lot of physiology behind that. And the one thing that I want to encourage people to know that it is possible. Now, you may be one of our listeners who say, I don't really need to lose weight. Well, one of the things that I think that is important, and as we get older, and this is the people that I'm addressing, you'll notice that your weight tends to go up. And, you may be 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there, 5 pounds the next year, then all of a sudden you're 10 or 15 pounds overweight. Well, that becomes your new set point. And I think that's some of the issues that people have is as they tend to gain not necessarily a large amount of weight over a short period of time, but it's a short amount of weight over a long period of time, you get new set points, and it's harder to go back to the original set point that you have. So you may not be in that category, or you may be somebody sitting there thinking, well, I just got 10 pounds to lose. Well, you're having a new set point. So if you can tackle those issues earlier rather than later when you get to 20 pounds, it's going to be much easier to get there and maintain that weight loss. So the early intervention can reset that set point much easier. Now, for me, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, and you may have heard it before. Over the last 15 years or so, I've lost 30 pounds. I didn't use semaglutide at that time because it wasn't really around and it wasn't readily available. But what I did is I was able to incorporate some of the things I'm going to talk about in a minute about our pillars of health with the semaglutide, and I've been able to be consistent with it, and I've been able to reset my set point. I'm even at the point right now where I'm trying to work out more and gain muscle. So I'm actually eating more now than I did a year or two ago. I haven't gained any weight, but one thing that I've found is I'm getting stronger in the gym. I'm setting, new personal best as far as like deadlifts and things like that. So I know I'm getting stronger with it. So that's some of the things I know that can happen. But I've been consistent. So you may be thinking, well, I've tried this before, and you tried for 3 months. I've tried it for 15 years. So it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. It's going to be something that you're going to have to do day after day, and it becomes a lifestyle. It's not something that I dread. It's not something that I never eat cookies or I never eat ice cream or anything like that. It's become a new way of life for me. And that's what I want to encourage to you is it can become a new way of life. It can become a new you, and that can let you maintain the results that you want to get. So, strategies for using the semaglutide. With that, I think that sometimes we go up on the dose too quickly, too soon. I think starting at a small dose and then gradually increasing that as needed, and letting people incorporate some of the things as far as your lifestyle that we're going to talk about with the 4 pillars in just a minute. Incorporating those into your life, getting used to that new life, not necessarily, wanting to lose 20 pounds in the first, month or two. That's not something that's really good for your body. I think if you do it more slowly, I think you'll be able to keep it off, and you want to be able to, do the weightlifting, the protein, and the things like that I do with my coaching with it. So we want to start small, and we want to increase it gradually, a little bit more than probably what's recommended. Again, we want to aim for 1 to 2% weight loss. So if you're 200 pounds, you want to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's something that you can maintain. It's something that you can continue to do. Studies have shown, and I've got a slide here that, you can lose up to 20% of your weight with semaglutide. With that, that's a significant amount of weight that you can have. If you're 200 pounds, 20% is 40 pounds. You get you down to 160. So that's something that is really significant for people to do. And one little graph that I found on LinkedIn, actually saw it today before I started doing this, is the amount of weight percentage-wise that you need to have to help you have a therapeutic benefit from certain conditions. Like this right here, when we're talking about diabetes. If you have a 15% weight loss with diabetes, it can really improve your diabetes overall. If you have sleep apnea, it's like 12% if you lose 12% of your weight. If you have fatty liver, 10% weight loss makes a huge difference. Hypertension, 15% of your weight can make a great difference. So there's so many things in our life that we're currently being treated for. Just losing this weight can help get you there. And I think that using the semaglutide in that way, so that we're able to, it's not just a vanity type thing, but it's more therapeutic, where we're looking at these medical conditions. And then you're able to alleviate some of these things that are associated with people being obese or overweight. So it's important, I think, that we look at this from a different angles. Obviously, we want to feel good. We want to look good in our clothes. We want to have the energy. We want to have those things. Nothing wrong with those things. But as an extra motivation, once you start losing that weight and then possibly maybe going off some medications, it even makes you feel even better. It feels like you're doing something. And it's going to help you long term, because you're going to avoid a lot of the complications from these chronic diseases. So weight has a direct link to these things. The less weight that you have, obviously doing it in a healthy way, is going to be able to help get you there and keep you there. And that's what I'm here for, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So I include the semaglutide, and then I'm coaching as well. I don't like it when I see ads, especially on Facebook, for people just wanting semaglutide. You order it and there's no coaching, there's no nothing. Because these people will lose the weight, but they're not going to be able to maintain it because they're not doing the right things. They're not getting their protein. They're not getting their resistance training. They're not being held accountable to those type of things. So if you're somebody who is taking it and you're not doing these things, I just wanted to have that warning out there. You need to be doing these things if you want to maintain this weight loss. So with semaglutide, there's 4 pillars I think you need to have when using it. And this is with the combination with the coaching, like what I do. First one is community support. That's with having a coach, and it's also walking through this with people who are going through the same thing. It's much easier when you're going through it with a group. You see their struggles. You see they're struggling just the same thing as you're doing. You see their frustrations. You may have a weight loss stall where a week or so you don't lose weight, but you see other people are doing the same thing. It's encouraging to know that you're not out there on an island by yourself. It helps add that level of accountability, not just with me holding you accountable, but it also helps with having a community there holding you accountable as well too. Second pillar I think is important, and again I'm talking about more health related, is monitoring your health through your labs. I do have a new dashboard that I offer to my clients if they want to do this as an extra benefit. And obviously they have to pay for the labs, but there are certain labs that are associated with longevity, and we can target specific things as far as the things that will help increase that longevity due to improving these certain labs, whether it be different types of exercise, different types of cardio, different supplements, different things like that. So if you're not really monitoring your blood work, if you're not monitoring that, you really don't know overall metabolically, are you getting healthy? Obviously, to get metabolically healthy, you can do your waist circumference, there's your blood pressure, things like that. But there's also some labs that can be associated with it that at least shows you the things that you're doing, you're trending in the right direction. The third pillar is tracking your foods. Now, I know it's a pain. I hate doing it too sometimes. But if you're not tracking your foods, then you don't really know what you're taking in. So if you're not getting the results that you want to get, then, you don't know exactly if the diet is the problem with it. The most important thing that I think people need to do is track their protein with this. So if you're taking the semaglutide and you're not tracking your protein, you don't know if you're getting enough to build and maintain that muscle that's so important for your metabolic health. More often than not, if I tell someone, they need to eat 120 grams of protein, I personally take in between 150 to 200 grams. But if I tell you to take in 120 grams of protein, they think, yeah, I'll probably take in about 120. They start tracking it, and then all of a sudden, they're taking in 60 or 70 grams. And they're not getting the building blocks to build that muscle from the amino acids from the protein to maintain that fat loss and maintain the muscle building part of it. So it's important that you track it. Now, like for me, I'm a creature of habit. I do the things over and over and over, pretty much the same. So after a while, if you're seeing gains in other places, then, you don't necessarily have to do it all the time. But I especially think people that are just starting out need to do this on a regular basis every day. The fourth pillar, and it goes along with the muscle mass, is strength training, strength tracking. So if you're not tracking your strength, you don't know if you're getting gains in the gym. It could be something as simple as doing one more rep than you did the previous week. It could be adding just a couple pounds to whatever you're doing. But if you're keeping this a log, if you're keeping this on a daily and a weekly basis, you're going to see, are you progressing? And then if you're not progressing, why not? Is it you're not eating enough protein? Are you not getting enough sleep? Are you not getting enough rest between workouts? So there's all kinds of things that can cause that, but you need to figure out what the problem is. Figure out if you do have a problem, you're not gaining strength, what the problem is, and then you can correct those things. So the 4 pillars that I think you need to have health with taking semaglutide, again, is community support, number 1. Number 2, monitoring your health through your labs. Number 3, dietary tracking. And number 4, strength tracking. You need to be doing those things on a regular basis to see if you are using the semaglutide, if you're getting if you're heading in the right direction, or are you going to be one of those people that lose their weight, not necessarily fat, and end up more metabolically unhealthy a year or 2 from now. So hopefully that's helped. One thing I want to talk about before we conclude this is, what do you do when you're taking the semaglutide, you get the results that you want to get, and what do you do here? Well, what I really would want people to do is to start tapering it down. So, if you're on a higher or medium dose, start tapering down to the lowest dose. Are you able to keep the results? Are you keep doing the things that you need to do? Then, if you're still able to maintain those results, you're not gaining your weight, you're still doing the strength training, you're still doing all those type of things, then do a drug holiday. When you do a drug holiday, that means you just go off the medication. There's no side effects as far as going off the medication and things like that. You could have increased hunger and different things like that, but hopefully you're getting the right nutrients in. But you go on a drug holiday. If you go on a drug holiday, that could be a couple weeks. That could be a month. It could be 6 months. And then what happens is sometimes you'll start to slowly regain the weight. Now, before you start back on the semaglutide, you need to ask yourself these questions. Am I deviating from my diet? Again, go back. Are you tracking your foods? If you're deviating from the diet and you're gaining weight, we need to correct that. Are you not exercising? Do you see you're exercising less? You're not gaining the strength in the gym like you should? Do you need that community support? Do you need that accountability? So if you do all these things, but you still start creeping up again, we talked about that set point as far as your weight at the beginning. Hopefully you've done this for a year or two. You've got a new set point. You may be down, 5, 10, 20, 40, 50 pounds. You have a new set point. So what we want to do is if we start seeing you go back up, and this is a way I think semaglutide is very well used, is you can go back on it for a short period of time. Lose weight, then go back. So there's nothing wrong with you using this on and off over a long period of time of years or decades. I feel that's where the best bang is going to be for your buck. The one thing I don't think you need to do is if you get down to your weight to always depend on this medication, because I think you need to go off of it just like anything else. If you lost weight and you didn't need your blood pressure medicine, you wouldn't keep taking your medicine, right? But if your blood pressure started creeping up, you take some medication, you redo your lifestyle, you get better, then you can go back on the medication. So I think it's something that we can use this. We can target it at certain points. I think it's good to help people get started, to get that over that hump, because a lot of people have tried different things. They get frustrated. So if they get some success, they lose the weight, they keep it off for a year or two, whatever it may be, they get a new set point, and then use it as needed ongoing, and then that's something that they can continue with their lifestyle, but then use this as needed for a targeted period of time. And I think that's where having a coach from someone outside looking in to kind of give you that guidance, the things that you need to have. And that's one thing that I do with my coaching is I give you guidance. A lot of times this all gets confusing. It gets to be like, okay, I'm not sure exactly what to do here. I'm not sure exactly what to eat. Why is this happening? Why am I getting a weight loss plateau? Those type of things. And if you can have somebody walk through that with you, I think you're going to get much better results, and it's going to be less of a headache for you. So if you're interested in coaching, you just reach out. We can schedule a free consultation. I'll tell you everything that we do, different services that we have, meeting different people in different areas. And if it's something that you think that you would like to do with the semaglutide, right now I have my license in Kentucky. So that's only people I can treat with semaglutide is in the state of Kentucky. Hopefully I'll have more licenses in other states later on. So it depends on when you're listening to this podcast. But even if you're out of the state of Kentucky and you need some help with this, I do have a course, and I include this with my clients here in Kentucky that I use the semaglutide with. I do have a course that helps take you through this to give you ideas as far as, how much protein you're supposed to be taking, how much carbs, fats, those type of things. I have sections on fasting, when you should fast, how you should fast, those type of things, going out to eat, all the things that you need to have to get success with your weight loss. I have a course on that, so reach out for that as well too if you're interested. So let's turn to our attention to the catechisms. Now, again, catechisms is something that we've been going over, and we're on number 83. We're actually going through the 10 commandments right now, and it says, what is the fifth commandment? The fifth commandment is, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land which your Lord your God is giving you. So honoring our mother and father. Sometimes, I have a mother, my dad has passed away. I'm also a father to my children, and I understand both aspects of it. But it's a decision that you make upon honoring them. It's not something sometimes it's easy to do, but it's something that God commands us to do. Just like all the other commandments that we have here, sometimes it's not necessarily things we want to do, but it's the things that we should do, not because of necessarily the parents or my children honoring me. It's because that's what God tells them to do, or tells us to do. So what we want to do is be obedient to his word. So if he tells us this is what we should do, then this is what we need to do. Now we can have another discussion another time as far as what does honoring mean, but that's something that I think in your heart, and it's something that you can study on your own as well. But more importantly, if you do not know your Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you about that, because that's the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. Anyway, hopefully this has helped. Hopefully this has given you some ideas as far as like maximizing your fat loss with coaching and with semaglutide. Is something that can help you get the results you want to get, and not only get them, but maintain them, because that's the key, is maintain the results that you get. You guys have a blessed day, and remember, be fit and be faithful.
This podcast is for informational purposes only. No patient-provider relationship is implied or established. This podcast in no way represents the practice of medicine. The information given is to be used at the listener's own risk. Please consult your provider before making any changes, as the contents of this podcast is no substitution for your provider's instruction.